Let me start by welcoming Richard Parker from Plannernet, one of our newest members to the virtual events group. And Richard, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'd love you to tell our audience exactly what you've been doing in your own words.
Well, so I've been in thank you, by the way, Robin. Been in the meeting and event space for 20 plus years. Did a lot of pharmaceutical, life science, small events, 250,000 a year at one point. Crazy number, yes. But, small dinner format meetings. I've been with PlannerNet for 10 plus years now. And just, working in it's easy to say it's a labor market, but it's not. It's the small business market, and it's bringing, large opportunities to small businesses. And we went through the life cycle of 2019, 2020, like we all have, and it's back. Live meetings are here and virtual's here, and it's great to join you.
So let's just say I'm in North Carolina. I'm planning an event. I am short-staffed, and that's when I turn to you, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so on the flip side, tell us about the typical workers you have.
So, well, I won't call them gig workers. Sorry, just
We're
how I
gonna get
approach
into
it.
that. Mhm.
I'm definitely freelance marketplace. Gig workers to me are, your Instacart, your Uber, Lyft, all of that. We have professional meeting and event planners, and they want to show up at events. They want to work events ahead of time. So we have 3,500 of them roughly. I mean, the number's always swaying, depends who's doing what. And it's just, I'm on the train, I feel like, but it's very much a niche that is weird, but needed by the whole community,
And so you have, it's sort of a dating service. You've got on one side, you've got your event planners, and on the other side, you've got people who need help with their events. And you vet all these freelancers based on their skills, right? And you also, if I'm not mistaken, take care of a lot of the laborious stuff that many freelancers despise.
Yes. So, hi, Robin. You kind of called it a dating service. I think what I would say is similar to your company, it's really B2B. Our network, they're all small businesses, every single one of them. And we are really matching them and aligning them to large organizations and bringing them work that would be difficult for them to get on their own otherwise. And so we do have a network of 3,500 people. It's growing really rapidly. There's a big influx of people who want to work more independently. That's a byproduct, I think. I think it was always moving that direction, but the byproduct of the pandemic. But we have a growing network of suppliers who are really actively looking to pick who they work with and pick the variety of work that they are supporting. And we kind of sit in the middle of that. And we work with a full array of customers that are planning meetings, and we sort of meet them where they are with whatever they need as far as meeting an event.
I think during the pandemic, they kind of woke up, got a little tired, well, couldn't travel, and now are just happy to work where they are, and you help facilitate that. Is that?
Agree. And if you can really imagine, I mean, Rich and I talk about this all the time, obviously our industry was so decimated during that time. And so people really got creative, which is the great part of where we are now. People have started their own businesses. They may still be working full time, but they're also running businesses on the side and staying networked in the industry and upskilling and learning new skills so that they can stay ahead of what's coming next. And we kind of get to play in the middle of that and help align people and organizations.
And then by playing in the middle, you take care of a lot of their headaches. So you've got customer success people, I'm sure, who work very closely. But what you said to me last time really struck me when in a pre-call, you talked about, the environment and how nice it is to have local people on the ground near your event rather than spread out and flying in from all over the place, and the impact of that on the environment. Are you seeing that you can staff locally, if you will?
Well, we always have been our major selling proposition, to our fault. We've always gone after the local proposition. The industry has not gotten there consistently. We are working hard towards that. Sustainability is definitely becoming a bigger and bigger issue. So I feel like our local network is a huge part of the value. We do our own calculator for clients to let them know their impact when they're flying people in, not using
Awesome.
local. So it's definitely an interesting concept. But it's sustainability is out there. It's a word, and I'm not sure everybody's there yet.
Well, I think the
Nope.
piece is I don't think people consider labor necessarily part of how you can have a sustainable action. I think we look at, where's our food coming from at events? How are we recycling at events? What are our hotels doing for us? But I think labor is the added component that people could get creative with. That is, instead of sending, 45 of my entire team, I could send half my team and get half locally. And they know the venues, and I've reduced travel costs, and I've chosen a more sustainable solution. So you don't have to go all in, but you could take these little incremental baby steps with labor even to help make your event more sustainable.
So you were really sort of had a long vision about this. I mean, the world has changed. There are more freelancers than ever before. There are more and happy freelancers, to have their own hours, to raise their families and still have super meaningful work careers. And I think, talk about, some of, so I'm planning an event. What's the question you get asked most often? It's like, help, I don't know where to start, or help, I'm looking for specific functions filled.
I think customers come in a variety of different ways. I think sometimes it is, hey, I'm having an event in Texas. I don't have anybody, who can help support. Can you give me talent that can run breakout rooms and manage registration and help me set up before the event? And we'll help source that labor, procure that labor for them. Sometimes though, it's a customer coming to us saying, hey, we're going to run a product launch next year across the US, and we want to build a talent pool that travels with the programs because we want the same talent at every meeting. Can you help us? Can you recruit and find those businesses to support us? And I use this phrase, Rich and I use it all the time, but again, we're meeting people where they are with whatever they need. And the great thing about 3,500 small businesses is they can adapt and mold to fit whatever model is needed for each organization. Everybody needs something a little different.
And so when you vet your freelancers, their skills.
Agree. And it's just like how you would vet any, B2B partnership or strategic partnership. When they come on board, you're vetting like, how valid are you as a business? What work product have you put out there in the past 5 years? What references do you have in the industry? What customers have you worked with in the last 10 years? And so we have a dedicated team that is kind of working through that process, and also trying to understand from our suppliers, like, where are you trying to go? What customers do you want to work with? What cultures do you want to align your business to? What skills are you trying to acquire and support moving forward? And so we have a database, and we have all of this information stored, and then we kind of have a secondary vetting that as they partner with customers in the industry, we get that feedback too. And so,
Right.
we have essentially this, world of knowledge about these businesses, and we can better align people because, it is at the end of the day, people at events. And so it's a people world, and we have to make sure that we get both the hard skills and soft skills.
So you get the whole gamut of people looking for your services.
Yeah, we work with large agencies, travel agencies, meeting and event agencies, a lot of direct corporate, Fortune 500, and then a lot of small companies that, they were trying to do it themselves. They knew whoever in the local market, and they're gone. And so they need somebody, and they come to us.
So what have you seen the big changes in the post-pandemic? Has your landscape changed from before?
No, it's coming back. We will be bigger than 2019. Right now, we are blowing away numbers. Live meetings are back and running. Virtual's still there. It won't go away. It's going to be part of the landscape going on forever. But people are here, and they want live meetings. But it's a little different.
And so I've talked about this, and what struck me about both of you is not just that you run this service, but you are committed to a healthy freelance economy, which is, I think, definitely changed. And how many people stepped away. There were no live events, and that you have really built an ethos around the company of making sure that freelancers are treated by the law, that they're taking full advantage. And so, talk to me about some of the things that are changing to accommodate this seismic shift.
So the future of work, it's here. It was here 5 years ago. Freelancers were climbing. I think in our space, it has definitely climbed even more. But if you talk about it in general, 60 million people in the US are freelancing, whether full-time job or partial work or whatever they're doing. It's a reality of work. The states, the feds, everybody's got to come along and understand that it's not going to be employer-employee relationship going forward. I think the freelancers need, and there are a couple companies out there, they need their benefits, all of that. I believe in the economy and where it's going. The macro economy is going freelance. It's not even a question. People want flexibility. They want to enjoy what they do. They want to choose who they want to work with. And this is what we do. We play in the middle and we connect them.
Yeah, it sort of ties to what you said before, Robin. The pandemic, we saw what it did to the labor market, right? People either went into early retirement, or they lost their jobs for a period of time, or they had to leave their jobs to be caretakers, whatever the reason. It, I think, expedited the need for freelance, whether that be I need agency over my schedule and what I do and what I want to do in the next, phase of my career. Or, hey, I'm an organization and I still have to produce events and I don't have my team anymore. And so I have to have some talent into my company. And so I think what we've seen is a little bit of this renaissance going on where customers are embracing freelance in a different way. And they're seeing that it can come in, and you're going to need your full-time team always, but your freelancers are also critical to that, and they can give flexibility to your own team. They don't have to go to every meeting. I think that's where we are now, is how do you do that? For one, I think companies are trying to figure that out. How do you do it compliantly, which I think is where you're kind of going. It's a big burden. They're planning big events. Do they really want to also have to manage, how do I find my, talent, my freelance talent? How do I make sure I'm engaging them legally? What paperwork do I have on them to prove that I'm engaging them legally? How am I paying them well? And so that's where we've kind of come into companies and said, don't worry about that piece. Outsource that to us. We'll take, with our technology, we'll give you a really easy way to engage the talent. You tell us what you need, where you need people, what you're trying to accomplish with your freelance talent. And then we'll cultivate a freelance talent pool for you. And then on the other flip side, we're working with businesses to say, that's the company you want to work with? Great. They're looking for these skill sets. Do you have them? If not, go get them. How do we align you? And so I think we're sitting in that middle. And then, as Rich was kind of intimating, is we've been looking at compliance for the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's not new. It's heating up more than ever. We really look at it black and white as employees and employers, but there is 60 million people who want to work in this capacity. And so we have to make sure we engage them appropriately.
No, it's such an important role and so visionary. And you are right. Staffing organizations have been around for a long time, but yours is totally specialty. So just so our audience knows, are you mostly in the sweet spot where you want somebody to take over and plan the event, or can I call you and say, I need a musician, a balloon blower, a ticket taker? Like where in that spectrum is Plannernet's sweet spot?
I mean, we say we're in meeting and events, and so it's not just any element of labor at meeting and events. It really is in the pre-planning of events, virtual event registration management, virtual producers, audiovisual technicians. So really more in the people who execute events, not in the ancillary talent that may come to an event or that you may book for your event.
Yeah, I want to add to that side. And Robin, we talked about this. We don't go downstream. It really is, to me, you've got to go to a temp agency. We find people for you and businesses.
And you feel that events and meetings in particular are great thing to think about outsourcing for any company. So you're sort of perfectly positioned at this moment.
Yeah, it's good and sad to say that based on what happened the last 3 years. But, fortunately, our model works with an upswing in the economy and a downswing in the economy. It's just where we play. I don't want to capitalize on the fact that a lot of people lost a lot of jobs, but yeah, it's where we
Yeah.
play and we bring opportunity to small businesses. I mean, that's our mission statement, and I love it. That's what we do.
I
Yeah,
will
no,
offer a positive to this though, Robin. I actually think a lot of people are toying with the idea of, I'm talented, I can go run my business, but I'm not quite sure how to just take the leap. And I think while the last few years have been difficult, I think a lot of people made that jump and are happier than ever. I mean, Rich and I were talking, we've seen numbers of people asking to join our network more aggressive than ever within the last 2 months.
Yeah.
At a pace that we were just absolutely not expecting. And I just think this is, like we said, it's the trend.
Yeah.
It's where people are trying to go.
it
Yeah.
plays into every sentiment. So now I have to ask you about
Uh-oh.
affordability. Am I adding to the ticket price of an event by you as, if you will, the middleman? And talk to me about how much an event costs.
One of my mottos is I'm not going to lose business over pricing. We work with clients that know how to uplift us, and price it appropriately. We work with clients that don't know how to. So we have to balance that and figure it out. Margin is different by everything we do: on-site, AV, virtual, project work. And that's how you have to run a business, based on how people look at labor, which is what it is at the end of the day. It's labor coming in, helping them out. So that's how we run the business.
And, Robin, what I will add kind of to the pricing component of it, there's two parts that we do a little bit logistically. Is a lot of customers come to us and say, hey, I know that I want a travel director for, the next 5 days, and I pay my TD is $500 a day plus whatever in expense reimbursement. We'll take that on and we'll price ourselves, as a partnership fee on top. So like there's a lot of customers who come with a price structure already in mind. And as Rich mentioned, we find a way to navigate that.
So Richard, Sasha, you've been wonderful in explaining, where you fit into the events ecosystem. Is there anything that we should be telling our members to be thinking about as they look for services like yours?
So I would say the future of work is here. The matching of labor and not full-time employees is here. Don't go back to hiring full-time employees. Don't do it. Try to figure out the new way forward. Understand the economy and the macro economy are changing, and people want to be freelancers. People want to use that. So I feel like for your members in the meeting and event space, just be open to where things are going here. It's here. It's not going to change. Genie's out of the bottle,
And I think you're a great resource for our entire community on how this plays out. Sasha, I see you nodding your head.
No, I echo the same sentiment. I think after the last 3 years, change can feel hard,
Yeah.
especially when we're all running at a clip to try to get events back at the rate they were. But I think if people can embrace the freelance economy in a way to know that it can mold to fit your organization and support your entire workforce, including your employees, I think that's my biggest sentiment is just stay open-minded. And if the pains that you're feeling, I think a freelance workforce can help supplement and reduce some of that burden.
I hope that you will continue to be a part of the VEG community, contributing your ideas, because you have a unique set of skills together that can really help us during this great transition period. Look forward to seeing you, and we'll see you online always and often. So thank you for your time today.